All right. Okay. All right. Okay. But whatever. Oh, let's turn this way. Oh, you know what? I don't even have my headphone in. I don't want to have to hold this the whole time, but I think I'm gonna have to. So, as everybody starts to gather, right? Give me some grace today, okay? A girl's going through, but no, seriously. I normally stream from my backup computer, and today, girl was given very much update me, so I'm on my phone and my other computer. So let me get everything set up. Okay. Now, how do I fix this? Oh, pull it up. Duh. Okay, now I'm live on Facebook. Okay. What's up, everybody? So, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media, and I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. And I typically use my platform to teach you guys kind of like how to do it yourself, the things that you need to know if you are doing it yourself, and kind of like things to look out for along your credit building, credit repair journey. So, um, let's see if this works. Can y'all still hear me? We good? Y'all can still hear me? Because let me tell y'all, I am struggling. Oh, hey from Houston. Oh, hello from Houston. Hey from not Houston. Okay. Okay. If y'all can't hear me on TikTok, just let me know. Because I hate having to use my phone. Okay, she clapped so she can hear me. All right. But what's up, everybody? So I've been super busy lately, but I told y'all I would go live today in the Facebook group. So I really wanted to make sure that I went live today to talk to you guys, because somebody asked me a really good question, and I did post a TikTok on it earlier, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit too, as well as address another question that I had. What did I just do with my notes all right here? As well as address another question that I got, and I did some more research, and so I do got some information to really kind of like some tea to spill. So if you can't stay the whole time, if you get in here late or whatever, I'm also streaming live on YouTube right now. WWTMPD, What Would the Money Plug Do? Or you can catch it on Facebook, on my Facebook page at the Money Plug, LLC, or in my Facebook group, Plugged in the Credit Clubhouse. That's all out the way. So the first question that I got today was really interesting because it's after January 31st. So I'm really hoping that you all have received them by now, so that you can go ahead and start filing your taxes. But somebody asked me about a 1099-C today. So for those of you who are unaware, right, when you have debt, and you have to pay that debt, a 1099-C is something that you get in the mail if you settled for less than what you owed, or if they completely forgave a debt and it was greater than $600. So if it's 600, I'm sorry, if it's $600 or more, then you'll receive a 1099-C. And that is because if more than $600 are forgiven, then this is considered income. So what happens when you get income, you have to report it to the IRS. So when a company settles for less than owed, the money that you did not pay is forgiven. And it's now considered income because it's money that technically was going to come out of whatever you made that year, but you never paid it. So technically it was money that you got to keep in house. So that is why you receive a 1099-C. That's like the easiest way for me to put it, for you guys to understand it. So if you settled debt and that applies to you, you might want to make sure that so legally they're supposed to send them out before the 31st, but I know with the way that the mail's been set up, you probably haven't gotten it yet. This reminded me of something I need to ask you. Thank you for that. Oh, okay, good. So I know with the way the mail's been, it's kind of janky, but if you know for a fact that you've settled debt for more than $600, then you might want to hold off on filing your taxes because this can affect you. I guarantee you, they're allowed to do it for they're allowed to do it for that. They're allowed to do it for interest. And I even listen, I'm not a tax expert. So as far as the mechanics of how it works, I'm not sure. Even in my TikTok that I did, I said that I'm not a tax expert, but I'm just telling you what's supposed to happen. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that really just depends on you, right? It depends on, like, you know, how much did you get forgiven and what kind of income do you receive, because this can affect your tax refund. So if you're used to a specific amount of money every year, and you get this and maybe you got a 1099 for a couple thousand, it could be possible that it's going to drastically affect your tax return. Again, even in the video, I suggest if you got any like particular questions that you reach out to a tax professional, which I am not. I can only tell you what's supposed to happen. And what's supposed to happen is that you are supposed to get a 1099-C. If you settle a debt and the amount that you settled was greater than $600, or if like the entire debt was forgiven. Say if you did your taxes already, can you file it next year? If you've already filed your taxes, what I'm going to suggest to you is that you do an amendment to your taxes. Do not wait until next year. And if you've never done an amendment before, then you might want to go to a professional. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. Again, I am not a tax professional. Somebody just asked me like, why did I receive this? And as far as why you received it, I can tell you why. As far as how it's calculated, or as far as like why this even happens in the first place, I can't answer that because I am not a tax professional. So wanted to get that out the way. So lately I've been seeing a lot of content about the FICO 10T, right? And I first heard about FICO 10T back in 2020. This was supposed to come out in 2022, but like for some strange reason, it just never did. And so I've been seeing a lot of content about it recently, and I've been getting a whole lot of questions about it. So I'm guessing that it's coming back out. I'm not quite sure. Before I answer that, I have a question. How much do you recommend putting aside for things like Uber Eats? I am not a tax professional. I'm not a tax professional, so I can't tell you that. It depends on like, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not a tax professional, so I can't answer that question for you. I do credit. But back to the FICO 10T. So FICO 10T is the new credit score that's supposed to be coming out. And because I've been seeing it a lot more in like articles and things like that, not just necessarily in Facebook groups, I'm really starting to think that this may be dropping soon. So there are some really important things you need to know about FICO 10T for those of you who are currently working on your credit, or if you recently worked on your credit and you got your goal score and things like that, and you're kind of wondering where you're going to sit. You really want to do some research on FICO 10T. So if your FICO score changes, depending on like your credit profile, from what I've been seeing, it should not change no more than 20 points in either direction, good and bad. I do see FICO 10T placing a lot of emphasis on credit cards. I know a lot of you don't like credit cards. I know a lot of you don't like, you really don't like the idea of owing people and things like that, but it's time to kind of break that mindset, because with FICO 10T, you're going to need it. And you might want to start building your credit now, because once FICO 10T goes into effect, it looks at it's not a snapshot. So your average FICO score, right? So let's talk about that for a second. So a regular FICO score is like a snapshot, right? Is this the version that excludes medical debt? So I've heard that, but different articles that I've read are saying different things. Now I have not seen anything that has a definite answer, so I really don't want to answer that. But what I will say is that a lot of things don't play as big of a role as it does now with FICO 10T. And that's because the T specifically. So FICO 10 and FICO 10T are two different things. With FICO 10T, it's not necessarily like a picture. So you think of your credit report as a picture, right? When you pull your credit report, it's what your credit looks like on that day at that time. With FICO 10T, it's not a snapshot. Think of it like a TikTok, right? It's a video of like the last 24 months of your overall credit health. So a way to kind of visualize that is for those of you who consistently pay your credit cards down, who consistently really, never really have any issues with your credit card utilization except around Christmas, when sometimes your credit score will spike, right? And you'll typically see a drop in your credit score when you do that with your regular FICO score. With FICO 10T, you won't really see a change in your score because they know that traditionally you pay your credit utilization down. So they'll take your overall credit health. Yes, the T is for trended data. Exactly. So it's really, and I'm really interested to see it. This is also the first time that FICO has ever given us two options for a base score. Now, for those of you who are familiar with your FICO scores, you'll know that FICO has one base score and then a bunch of like industry specific scores. Will they be able to see removed items in the FICO 10T? I haven't seen anything that suggests it will be able to see anything. Like I said, it's not really too much available. So it's nothing. I haven't seen anything that say they will be able to see removed items. Damn, I couldn't even talk. I haven't seen any things that say they will be able to see removed items, but I'm seeing that credit cards play a huge role. Your credit utilization plays a huge role in this. However, when I was looking at the percentages, the only thing that I see really is different is that inquiries are no longer factored into your credit score. Now, that's not to say that it won't affect your credit profile, but as far as how your credit score is going to be calculated with FICO 10 and FICO 10T, it's really not playing a part. That 10% that's usually reserved for inquiries, it's now reserved for new credit to encourage you guys to open up new accounts. I'm saying it all the time that you guys should have a certain amount of accounts reporting at all times, even as things kind of like fall off or age out or whatever the case may be. But this is going to make sure that you guys are opening new accounts because it's actually factored into your credit score. So that's something very, very interesting that I saw, as well as it gave some very specific examples on what could kind of affect your score. Let me see if I still have the article up, because let me see if I can go back and find that article, because it gave some very specific, like here it is right here. I'm gonna read it directly from this. I'm gonna read it directly from this. Where is it? How might FICO 10 affect your score? So missed payments is still a big part, right? One-time payment history is still 35% of your credit score. That's not going to change. However, the penalty for going 30 days past due will be even harsher than it was under previous FICO scoring models. So if you're struggling with your on-time payment history, that's definitely something that you're going to want to get under control well before FICO 10T goes into effect. And let's be clear, FICO already has these. FICO already have the FICO 10 and the FICO 10T set up, ready to go. It's just that for some reason it's not into effect yet. Nobody really has an answer as far as why. It's just not. Like I said, I first heard about it in 2020. So the fact that it's coming back up in conversation now, I really feel like maybe it could be dropping this year, but I really don't have a date. Also, and this is so funny because we've been talking about this a lot lately, and we've been having this discussion here on TikTok where I'm talking about, not using your credit cards for emergency purposes. It specifically says if you are using your credit cards to get by and you just can't seem to get your balances down, or your balances are just continually growing, then that can be a reason that your FICO score will drop, regardless of what it was with FICO 8, which is what typical lenders are using now, with the exception of the mortgage scores. You will see a significant drop because of that. If you took out a personal loan to consolidate your credit card bills, but now your credit card balances are high again, or it appears you have applied for additional credit, that is a reason that your FICO score will drop. And I'm reading it straight from out of this article from NerdWallet. Keys to a higher score on the FICO 10 and the FICO 10T. Pay down the balances on your credit card. Y'all know I tell y'all all the time, that is the easiest way to manipulate your credit score, is by paying your credit cards down. Credit card utilization is 30% of your FICO score, right? That is a huge part, and it's the easiest section in your credit score to manipulate when you need those extra points. Do everything humanly possible to avoid a missed payment. This means communicating with your lenders. Ask them, do they do deferrals? Ask them, do they have some kind of repayment programs? But do not have late payments, missed payments, or late, same thing. If you don't already have an emergency fund, you need to start one. If you have to turn to credit cards in an emergency, your rising balances could hurt your score. Remember, we just had this conversation because for a lot of people of color, we were initially taught, like financial literacy wise, that credit cards are only for emergencies. And that's not true. And I discussed how things that worked back in the day, right, don't work no more. And this might have worked for you, with the FICO 8 and FICO 9, but with FICO 10 and FICO 10T, they are making it abundantly clear that this is not what credit cards are used for. And so they are trying to force us to use them in the manner they're supposed to be used for. They're supposed to replace your debit cards in a sense. If you are thinking of consolidating credit card debt with a personal loan, avoid charging up the credit card balances again, because FICO 10T will penalize you for it. I'm very interested to see how that works specifically, because this is a very specific example of something happening on your credit profile and it affecting your credit score. Like, they're really adamant about getting these loans to pay off credit cards and then running the bag back up. So I'm very interested to see kind of how that works out. But like I said, so the information I'm seeing, I haven't seen anything directly from FICO, and I'm not even sure if it's going to come out this year, because I've been low-key listening to this and I even talked about it in the beginning of 2021 about how FICO 10T was supposed to drop. So this is all stuff that I'm just seeing on the internet. Like I said, I've seen it kind of increasing in talk, and I just really wanted to kind of address it here. I am going to do a TikTok video on it once my kids go to sleep. I am going to do a TikTok video on it for you guys so that you can have something that you could like save about it and do some more research. But that's all I have so far. So let's answer some questions. Let's see. I have a question. How much do you, oh, you already asked me that. I have a dispute that continues to pop up on TransUnion, even though it's been removed from others. So here's the thing. All three of the bureaus communicate, but that doesn't mean that they are forced to do something just because the one bureau did. That's not how it works. They're separate entities. So even though they can share results to each other and they can see results with each other, they don't have to remove something because someone else did. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that whatever reason the credit bureau removed it for, and whatever proof they told you, whatever proof they gave you that your dispute was a valid dispute, you want to take that evidence and submit that to the other bureau. Like, hey, this needs to be removed because of XYZ. And if it is legit, then they will remove it. But just saying, hey, they deleted it, so you have to, that's not a good enough reason. I have a credit card. My youngest is on it. I pay it on time, but I'm not getting why his scores went down. It's more than just paying on time, right? It's also about what is your credit card utilization when the card reports. That's also really, really big. Now, also, if I don't know how old your child is. If they have anything else on their credit report at all, that could be it. It could be something else that maybe popped up. It's very important that if you have children and you're trying to build credit for them, that you are, if at all possible, like I said, I don't know how old your child is. If they're over the age of 18, then pull their credit report, see what they're working with. Get credit monitoring for their social security number, so that you can put freezes on their stuff to make sure people aren't out here using it. You know, you'd be surprised what's on the dark web. So there's a lot of things that can go into why their score went down. You just gonna have to do a little digging to kind of figure that out specifically. Girl, okay, I really wish they would just drop it because my anxiety is so bad. My clients are on edge. And then I don't know if any of you have been tracking this whole issue with the CFPB. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is responsible for enforcing the FCRA, right? And forcing the bureaus to do all this stuff. And a scathing report came out saying that they have not been answering requests. They don't give a fuck about not answering requests. And so like a lot of people haven't been getting responses to their dispute letters and things like that. So the bureaus is already tied up in enough shit, so I really wish they would just go ahead and drop a release date for FICO 10T. I'm starting to feel like they pulling a Beyonce and just one day I'm going to wake up with a new FICO score. No, I wouldn't suggest removing them because, I mean, this is the only line of credit your child probably has. So removing them would do more harm than good. You just really got to find out. I call it a slow leak. You know, when you got a slow leak on a tire, right? A lot of people will put soapy water so that they can see the bubbles wherever the air is coming out of. You got to look for the bubbles on the credit report. Is this a good credit card to have, Credit One? Because they keep sending me a pre-qualification letter. It all depends on what you consider a good card. So let's talk about it, right? I really hate when low-key when you guys be asking me questions about like which credit card should I get, because each person is different. When you guys come to me about credit cards, I ask you questions. So you got to sit down and ask yourself before you guys start going credit card hunting. Stay out of these Facebook groups. Stay out of these group chats or whatever it is. Don't ask your mama. Don't ask your dad. You got to sit down with yourself and your finances, and you have to evaluate what your current lifestyle is and what you can afford. When I say evaluate your lifestyle, look at what you spend your money on, right? So, for example, I have a lot of children, so I'm in and out of the grocery store. I'm getting gas all the time because Lord knows I'm always driving somewhere. I spend a lot of money in like children's place and things like that. And so I got credit cards that work for me. Credit cards that give me cash back at the grocery store. Credit cards that give me cash back at the gas station. And I have a children's place credit card because I spend a lot of money there and often. So you really want to evaluate what your lifestyle is. And you also want to look at what perks do you want, right? So are you a cash back girl? Are you a points girl? Are you a miles girl? Like, you got to really sit down with yourself and see where you are and where you want to be. Now, when it comes to subprime lenders like Credit One, Open Sky, First Premier, Indigo, things like that, I'm going to be honest with y'all. You got to pay to play. Some of these have annual fees. Some of these have high interest rates. But for those of you who don't have the best credit, unfortunately, these are the only options that you have. You cannot be picky. And I know it sounds crazy. I know it's going to sound a little harsh for people who don't want to hear it, but beggars can't be choosers. If you want to build a credit profile, you got to do what you got to do to get there. So these subprime lenders might be just what you need for a little bit until you can get your affairs in order enough to qualify for the better cards. Will they be able to? Oh, I already answered that. Best way to see my credit score. So I personally have credit monitoring. I suggest that everybody has credit monitoring because, again, you'd be surprised what's out on the dark web. So somebody could have access to your social security number and things like that to be opening accounts in your name. So I think the best way to see your credit score is to have a credit monitoring subscription. I've had one for multiple years. I've used multiple companies. I currently have two going on right now. I have my FICO, and then I also have Smart Credit. Getting mine down to 3% has helped me tremendously. Yes. I know when you guys get on Google and start looking at ways to like build your credit back up after, messing it up or whatever the case may be, or if you've never had credit, you'll typically see that your credit utilization should be at like 30%. And that's not true. If you don't have a 750, then you really need to be paying your credit card balances down even lower, because credit card utilization is 30% of your credit score, meaning how much available credit overall, not per card, but overall, are you not using? Now, you always want to make sure that you're reporting some credit utilization, but you don't necessarily want to like run up the bag. Hey T, I was told if you apply for more than one in a day versus one here, one there, one next month. Is this any truth? So let's talk about this for a second, right? This is the old profile versus score conversation. So for those of you who don't know, your credit score isn't just something that pop up in their head. It's based off of your credit profile. So your credit report is what is used to generate your credit score. Now, there are things that you can do to improve the health on your credit profile that will not affect your score. And there are things that you can do with your credit profile that will affect your score. For example, if you apply for the same thing, like for something in the same industry within, I think it's like 30 days or so, it'll only hit your score one time. So like when you go car shopping, right? Let's say you go car shopping, you go to a couple dealerships, they're going to run your credit to hell if you don't go in there with a pre-approval. So you get like 20, 30 inquiries. While it's only going to hit your credit like once, if you go within that allotted amount of time, on your credit profile, there's a lot of inquiries now. So even though that works, it will only affect your score once. You can you can still get denied for things because you have too many inquiries acquired in a 12-month, 24-month time period. So you really want to be very, very careful with that. Yes, you have to apply for new things in order to build your credit, but you shouldn't just be applying for everything you see just because you see it. I always tell people that the accounts that you have should be benefiting you. You should not have credit cards that you're not using. You should not have lines of credit that you're not using. They're pointless. They're not serving a purpose. These cushion accounts that everybody is used to, they're not serving a purpose, and the bureaus are getting smart. Y'all remember when New Coast Direct and AG Jewelers and I forgot the other little jewelry companies, when people was doing that to boost their credit up because their credit utilization was shitty, and then the bureaus got hip and they took it away. You got to stop depending on these crutches. You guys just got to get you got to stop depending on these crutches and just start listening, doing it the right way the first time, so you're not having to bounce back once that crutch isn't working anymore. Hey girl, hey. Should I send a Goodwill letter to have late payments removed on a closed account, or is it too late? Goodwill letters will not work on closed accounts because the account is now closed. There's no incentive for them to update the account. Now, there are ways to attempt to get a late payment removed from a closed account. You can request a payment history associated with the account and try to force the company to prove that you were in fact late. If it's a credit card specifically, there is a stipulation in the FCRA that specifically states that a company cannot report a late payment if they cannot prove that they provided you with a statement within 20 days, no less than 20 to 21 days from the payment due date. I think that's what it said. Yeah, no late than 21 days from the payment due date. So if they can't prove that they did that, they cannot report that late payment if you were in fact late. So that's another way that you could use the dispute late payments. You can honestly just ask them like, hey, can you update my late payments? That's also an option. Like I said, it's a million ways to skin a cat, but unfortunately a Goodwill letter on a closed account is not going to work. And a Goodwill letter only works if you have a good relationship with that lender. I think that's another thing a lot of people don't understand. So if you only had 30 payments total on this account, and out of 30, 17 of those was late payments, they're not going to do a goodwill letter for you, and they're not obligated to do so either. I think a lot of you think just because you dispute something it's supposed to come off, and that's not how it works. It's a 50-50 chance. And so you guys have to understand that, okay, if I don't get this off, what is my next option? You do not have to have a pristine credit report to get things, right? Remember when we did that live with Rebecca, the mortgage mentor, she talked about buying a home while you're in the middle of a chapter 13 bankruptcy. That's literally possible. So just understand that if you lose a dispute, that's not the end of the fight. Now you just got to focus on the building more so than the repair part, right? But that's another conversation. Hey girl. My FICO shows your credit scores. Yes, it shows me all of my FICO scores. Remember, there's multiple FICO scores. There's your FICO base score. There's your FICO auto score, your mortgage score, your credit card score. There's a lot going on with FICO. And so my FICO breaks them all down for me. I have a credit question about an auto charge off. Okay, Ricky in the truck. What's up? My car got totaled 4 years ago, but they say I owe $4,000. I sent a debt validation letter and they sent me a contract from the dealership. That is a debt validation. So a proper debt validation is, but here's the thing, that's a debt validation, but that's not a debt breakdown. When you guys do a debt validation, you're not just validating the fact that you owe a debt. They also need to send you something showing what the debt is for. So if let's say, for example, so I just had this recently happen to me. So I got into a car accident in March on a car that I was still paying on. And the auto insurance paid out what they were supposed to pay out plus gap. However, when I had hit hard times, I did what's known as a deferral. So instead of getting that late payment added to my credit, I tacked that car payment to the end of my loan. So I still had a balance on my car. And so I had to pay that balance after gap paid what they were going to pay and insurance paid what they were going to pay in order to close my loan out in its entirety. So if you don't have gap, or if there's still a balance after gap makes their payment, you are still liable for that debt. Now, them sending you that contract from the dealership, that's tying you to a debt, but that's not breaking down what the debt is. They need to send you a breakdown of what the $4,000 stand for and proof that you did not already previously pay it. All right, let's look at some more questions. My auto loan was charged off, but I still have the car and my credit report shows two different balances. So the fact that your credit report shows two different balances is grounds for a dispute. When you start disputing, don't just jump out the gate like, yo, these balances is wrong and that's why I'm disputing it, because you literally telling them what's wrong and listen, when you guys dispute, it's not they have to delete it just because you dispute it. When you guys dispute, legally, they are obligated to start an investigation. And with that investigation, the results have to determine whether or not they have a duty to update or a duty to delete. So if you tell them exactly what's wrong, they're going to go in and fix it because they have a duty to update. You want to be as vague as possible while still being very adamant that something is wrong. Now, here's the thing about these auto loans, right? So an auto loan that's charged off is technically considered like a repossession, right? That's typically when you see that, or if you still owe a balance on the car, but they just ain't come pick it up. I saw that a lot during COVID, right? It's still technically in repossession state or something like that. I forgot what the exact terminology the guy used, but when that happens, right, and you start wanting to dispute repossessions or old balances on vehicles, if we can just call it that, that's the most sued debt. Like the young lady who they provided her a copy of her contract with the dealership, if they do that to you and then update the account, you have now reset the statute of limitations for that debt depending on what state you live in. So now this company can go back and sue you and get all the money that they saying that you owe because they've properly validated this debt and you lost the dispute, which technically counts as an update to the account activity, which resets the date of last activity, thus resetting the statute of limitations. That is dependent on what state you lived in when you signed the contract for the vehicle, because there is one state in particular that I know off the top of my head that provides protections against zombie debt or debt that has aged out. The other states, as far as I know, don't have them. But again, it's up to you to know your state's laws. It goes by the state you lived in when you got the car. And you need to just do a little bit more digging because that might not be a strong enough argument to get that whole thing taken off. How many rounds of disputes do you do before you know something isn't being removed? I'm going to be honest. I keep going. I'm going to keep going until my client be like, all right, look, what's my next option? Or like, so for example, if it's a debt that you owe, so if you owe a debt, and we go to dispute it and we try multiple different tactics and it's just not working, at some point I'm gonna come to my client and be like, yo, you gotta either be willing to pay or you gotta leave it alone because it's not coming off. And usually if we go through factual disputing, or if you go through what is known as Metro 2, or the way that the credit bureaus is reporting the debt, not necessarily the way that the creditors is reporting to the credit bureaus, then I typically tell my clients, all right, now we might got to look at paying this, or now we might got to look at leaving it alone if you're not willing to pay it. You should draw a line in the sand before you start the dispute process, and then once it gets to that point, you be like, I'm done. I'm not messing with this account no more. I'm gonna go ahead and just focus on building, because clearly this shit gonna be on my credit for a while. Again, sorry, phone call, but why is his score dropped when it's paid on time? I don't know. You got to do some digging. You're gonna have to do some digging. You need to get copies of their credit reports, or something like that. Like, you got to figure out where I used the, I'm mad you missed it. I used the analogy of a tire, right? When you have a tire that has a slow leak and you go to get it plugged, right? They usually put like soapy water on the tire and try to see where the bubbles are coming from to figure out where the leak is. You need to look for the bubbles on the credit report. If they're too young for a credit report, then it might be best to just get identity monitoring for them, and freeze their social security number. Maybe your credit utilization is high. When it reports to credit bureaus, that could also play a part in their credit score. It's a lot that really goes into how your credit score is calculated, but you're gonna have to do some digging. How long does a closed account with late payments affect your credit? If it's closed, then it affects your credit for 7 years from the date of last payment. So, again, they are allowed to report the life of the account for the duration of that 7 years. After that 7 years, the account falls off and it's no longer tied to your credit score. How about medical debt? I have one that is showing when VA took care of it, but it's showing. Now, if you need to, you might want to call the VA, because I literally just had this issue. I literally just looked up and looked at this damn bill sitting on my thing. So I went to the dentist. And I damn sure got health insurance. I have dental. I'm fully covered. However, I get a cute little bill in the mail saying, yo, it's been a minute. You came to see us in, like, when the fuck did I go get? I went to go see them in October. Here it is, February, and the bill still isn't paid. Like, and they're saying it's still owed. I thought that my insurance covered it, but they billed it incorrectly. So you really need to make sure, one, that they billed it properly, and two, that the VA processed it properly. It literally could be a miscommunication, like one number could be off or something like that. You're gonna have to do some digging. Hey, Marquia, it's Marquia. Will my credit score always be low if I have student loans? That's not true. Student loans could actually be used to boost your credit score when, used properly. As long as you have on-time payments, then as long as you have on-time payments every month, your student loans won't affect your credit score negatively. It's so funny. I just had to tell a client this. Glad you're okay after the accident. Yeah, I'm glad I'm okay after the accident too. Can a charge-off with a balance be updated every month? Updated like what? So if it's reporting as a charge-off every month, that is known as a false manipulation of the date of last activity, which does violate the FCRA. And you can use that as grounds for a dispute. But what I'm going to tell you is, if this is an account and that you don't plan on paying, don't touch it. Because for a lot of you, that's not going to be strong enough. Sometimes they even do this to bait people into disputing so that it resets the statute of limitations for them. Damn, I got a lot of questions. Should you pay collections even though they're not willing to delete? That is a personal question you're going to have to ask yourself. Now, I can tell you what happens if you don't pay collections that are not willing to delete. What happens a lot of times, depending on the amount of debt, and I typically tell people, when you have high dollar debt, that's when you really got to start thinking about this question, because a high dollar debt is anything that you'd be willing to fight somebody over if they owed you, because that's literally what the companies are thinking when they take you to court. Like, bitch, I can't believe I gave you this money and now you ain't trying to pay me back. So if you will be willing to beat somebody's ass over some money, that's considered high dollar debt, and you can probably expect to go to court over it. Now, if you do not pay a collection, this company, and let me be clear, if you do not pay this collection and the statute of limitations has not already expired, then it is possible that the company could take you to court and sue you. And that can affect your credit, because if it meets certain requirements, it can report on your credit as a judgment. I know MoneyWise lawyer who pops in and out of here sometimes. He said that there are specific requirements that must be met before it can report, but it is likely that it can report on your credit and hurt your credit even more. Now, I always tell people, that's why I always tell people, try everything else before settling. Also, in the beginning of the live, we talked. So if they settle for less than owed, then you could also be forced to file this on your taxes as income if it's greater than $600 that was forgiven. So that's something else you want to take into account when settling or considering paying debt that you owe. That's not just. You got, when it comes to paying collections, you got to decide how far you willing to take this shit. How bad do you want good credit? That's literally what I be telling people who be telling me they don't want to pay collection. I'm gonna look at the usage on his end. He's 17. Okay. Heard recently we should request an increase Q3 months if in good terms. Any truth? Now, listen, let me tell you this. It's no harm in applying for credit limit increases because remember, whenever you apply for something and you're denied, per the adverse action section of the FCRA, they have to provide you with a disclosure as far as what disqualified you from getting it. So whether you apply for a credit card or a car or a home or a credit limit increase, whenever you apply for these things and you're denied and your credit played a part in that decision, they are legally obligated to give you a disclosure telling you exactly what on your credit report disqualified you and what they were looking for. So if you do apply and you get denied, you're literally getting the cheat codes. They're going to mail you or email you the cheat codes telling you exactly what to fix to get these things. Now, I typically tell my clients, if your credit score has increased since you qualified for this particular account, go ahead and put in for a credit limit increase because now you are more valuable. Right now, you got a little bit more weight behind you, right? So, but if your score has gone down since opening this account, regardless of how much time has passed, it's not a good idea because then you can also have your credit limit lowered at any point in time, just so y'all tracking. Does paying off collections improve your credit and FICO score? It depends on how you pay. So if you do a pay to delete with collections, then yes, because the collection is then removed from your credit report. It's not about how much you owe. It's the fact that you even owe collections in the first place that's costing you points. So if you negotiate a pay to delete, then it'll be as if the collection never existed. The company gets their money. Everybody's happy. Now, if you don't negotiate a pay to delete and you just pay the collection, your score is not going to go up. Now, it's not going to go even lower, but it's not going to go up simply because, again, how much you owed, you lost points for owing in the first place. Sorry, I heard the sound. Oh, here we go. No. What can you do if the creditor agrees on a pay to delete and then don't delete? This is why I tell you guys, don't talk over the phone. This is why I am so adamant about sending letters. And yeah, I know the postal service is janky lately. And yes, I know it's very, if you're uncomfortable with it or, you don't like the idea of the letters floating around or you want something quick. But listen, when you get these things in writing, you can hold these people accountable. If you have your pay to delete agreement in writing, you can take that and a copy of the receipt of payment and submit it to the credit bureaus yourself for removal because you've shown that you have fulfilled your portion of the obligation of paying the debt and they are lacking on the deleting part. All right, we doing good with questions. I just want to make sure everybody's getting a question answered. All right, Facebook. Okay. YouTube. All right, cool. I thought you was going to change your name to Barb the Money Plug. Listen, I was already running out of letters on TikTok for my name, so I thought about it. I thought about it. What if they just up your credit line without you applying? That you also give them, oh, thank you for the rose. You give them the ability to do that. You guys need to really start reading the contracts that you're signing with these companies because you give them the right to either increase your credit limit without your permission or decrease it without your permission, depending on the state of your credit profile when they decide to go check it. So you really need to read your agreements before you sign them. Hey, Ern. I got my student loans dropped due to a disabled vet. So let vets know. Oh, yeah, we've talked about that extensively because I'm a disabled vet. So I'm a 100% service-connected disabled retiree. And so I've talked, we give classes on like the SCRA, the Service Member Civil Relief Act, and all the benefits that you qualify for, as well as your spouse in certain cases. You can get your student loans. Just for serving, you can have your interest rates on your student loans, your cars, your homes, things that you own prior to the military, you can get those lowered. And credit card companies, even if you got them after you entered service, they will still lower, some of them will still lower your credit card interest to less than 6%, regardless of what the company is. So even if it's a subprime lender like Credit One, Indigo, et cetera, they will lower your interest rate for you in certain instances if you had these accounts prior to service, and then some of them still work with you if you got them after you got into the military. Now, what this person is referring to is that if you are, I think it's like 100% disabled or something like that, there's a certain percentage requirement that you have to meet, but your student loans can be completely forgiven, right? But here's the thing I want to let you guys know about having your student loans forgiven, which is really cool, right? I love the concept. Nobody wants to pay back their student loans, right? Now, if you get your student loans forgiven, even if you're not in the military, if you get your student loans forgiven, here's what's going to end up happening. What's going to end up happening is your score is probably going to drop. Not probably, it is going to drop, because your student loans is your oldest account on your credit profile, right? The oldest account on your credit profile for most of you, because most of you got them as soon as you turned 18 and went to school. So this account is no longer reporting. You're losing a very valuable piece to your credit profile. So for some of you closing this out, you will see a dip in your credit score. Now, if you have been building your credit, the right way, making sure your utilization low, you have some other accounts on there. I always tell people, think of your house. Let's say you live in the floodlands, right? Think of your house as your credit report. Now, let's say you got to put your house on stilts. The more stilts you have under your home, the more secure your home is. But if you only got like 1 or 2 sticks up under your house, it's going to fall over. So make sure, if you plan on getting your student loans forgiven, if you've applied for student loan forgiveness or anything like that, make sure you have an adequate amount of credit accounts reporting so that it doesn't have such a huge effect on your credit profile. Girl, why am I? Listen, and let me tell you. So another thing, for those of you who are new, I say girl a lot. That is not me misgendering you. That's just how I speak. But somebody said, why am I annoyed when influencers call the FCRA the FCRA Act? And I am the same exact way. But the thing is, when I hear people say that, that's how I know they don't understand what the FCRA is. They're just repeating what they hear. It's easy to repeat something. It's harder to understand it and understand why you're saying it in the first place. So whenever I hear that, I instantly go in the other direction because I'm tired of it. And y'all so shady. Let's talk about my followers for a second, because y'all so shady. Y'all kept tagging me in that boy video. Y'all would comment under somebody else's tag of me and then tag me again separately because y'all wanted me to talk about that man so much. The one who was dancing and shit, talking about the FCRA. Congress passed the FCRA Act and you don't got to pay. Listen, I don't even know. Y'all so shady because y'all wanted me to go in on that video. I just want y'all to know that, and I love y'all for it, because we do not do misinformation here. I recently reviewed my FCRA booklet, a bit intimidating, but full of info. Listen, do not be intimidated by what you see. You can literally break it down section by section and do some research and make it so that you understand it. The thing that makes me so popular here on social media, right? And I'll go ahead and give y'all the tea. The thing that makes me so popular is that I've been able to take bits and pieces of the FCRA and make it digestible. A lot of people see those big words. A lot of people see the like how thick the booklet is, or just the format, just the idea of this being consumer law. It's very intimidating for some people, but if you break it down into bite-sized pieces and then summarize those pieces in a way that relates to you, the way that works for you, then it's not that bad. Are you accepting clients? I am currently. I'm getting dangerously close to closing my client list, actually. Is it necessarily a bad thing? Is what necessarily a bad thing? I'm scrolling through the comments, so I don't see your comment as soon as you post it. So is what necessarily a bad thing? I just got a credit card. Do you have lessons on your page for beginners? My page isn't necessarily like formatted like in a specific order, but there are a bunch of credit card videos. I have one that talks about why you shouldn't have 0% credit utilization. It literally says 0% credit utilization on the video. I have one where I talk about why I allow my credit card company to charge me interest. So there's like credit card videos like sprinkled throughout the thing. But you could just go through my page and see it if you're looking for something specific. If they up your credit line without you actually applying for it, is it necessarily a bad thing? Okay, so no, it'll help your credit utilization. It's only a bad thing if you're already struggling with maintaining your credit your credit utilization, because it's going to give you more money to spend. Remember, money management is something that you need to perfect before you start getting credit cards, before you start getting these loans, before you start building your credit. You have to have basic financial literacy. And that's where a lot of people fall short. And then it's so easy for them to blame credit cards for that, right? That's like the fork made me fat, or, the guns kill people. Those arguments aren't true because it's you get what I'm saying? It's operator error. Does that make sense? I have accounts dropping off my file February through April. That means I need to get more accounts. Yes. So if these are positive reporting accounts that you have on your credit and they are giving you points and helping you out, you need to make sure that you are adding new accounts to your profile consistently. So a good credit profile, like a good baseline to have at all times reporting, you need to have at least 3 credit cards, 1 short-term loan, and 1 long-term loan. That's kind of like the baseline I tell my clients. Obviously, you can go above that. You don't have to get all these things at one time, but this is definitely something that you're going to want to aspire towards, right? Because if you have that, you're kind of maximizing, the points that's available for your credit profile. How can you build if you can't get approved because of bad choices 10 years ago? There's always a way to build. Let me ask you this. How far are you willing to go? What are you willing to do? A lot of people are like, oh, I can't build my credit. And then you suggest credit cards. Oh, girl, that's got an annual fee. Oh, I don't want to pay that interest. You have to draw your line in the sand and say what you are willing to do and not willing to do to build your credit. Some accounts that I suggest for people, as long as you don't have an active bankruptcy, I know you qualify for things like the Credit Sesame program. I know, where is that? I remember I told you guys I would let you know once I became a part of the program and kind of worked it out. I'll show you guys my Credit Sesame card. And how it works is that, I can take money out of my checking account and put it on my Credit Sesame card and, make transactions and all that stuff. And it'll report on my credit as on-time payments. Remember, on-time payments is 35% of your credit score, sorry. And so those on-time payments are helping to boost my score. If you pay rent, you can use rent reporters. I literally have links to this stuff on my website. If you click on affiliate links, rent reporters will literally take the last 2 years of your on-time rent payments and report them to the credit bureaus as on-time payment history, which will also boost your score, right? There's so many things that could be used to boost your score or to start giving you better history to strengthen your profile and give you the score to qualify for these other cards, but you got to start somewhere. Can Experian remove heart inquiries? They're telling me they can't by law and to contact the creditor. So the reason that they're telling you they can't by law, and I know a lot of you have been seeing in Facebook groups like, oh, I called Experian and got all my inquiries taken off. It's really hit or miss. It depends on who you talk to that day. Legally, they are obligated to report if it is factual information, and that's what they're referring to. By law, they have to report creditors who requested copies of your credit profile with your consent, right? This is called the law of permissible purpose. Each company has to have your express consent, written consent, in order to request copies of your credit profile. Now, what you can do, since they don't want to help you out, is you can send a letter to each creditor asking them to send you proof that you gave them permission to view your credit profile. And if they cannot provide the proof, then they must erase the inquiry from your credit report. That is your next option, because Experian clearly don't want to help you. I already answered that. So I have 2 credit cards, a mortgage, and 1 student loan. I checked my FICO score, and my FICO shows a red flag for not having an auto loan. You don't have to have an auto loan. So again, remember I went over the baseline, your mortgage counts as your long-term loan. However, you've probably had the house for a while, maybe. And they're telling you yo, you need something else right here because it's been a while since you've opened up a long-term loan. If you're not, listen, your credit score should match your lifestyle. You should not be getting things just for the sole purpose of raising your score. You should be getting things because they are going to help your lifestyle. So don't go get a car if you don't need a car. Don't go get a card if you don't need a new card. That's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it. Would it be wise to do a balance? Shit, I hate when TikTok updates the damn questions. Hold on, y'all. Would it be wise to do a balance transfer and work on one card, clearing up other utilization? It depends. The only one who can decide on whether or not that's a good thank you so much. The only one who can decide on whether or not this is a good option for you is you. look, compare the interest rates, look, plan out your payments, see how long it's going to take you to pay it back. Really sit down and evaluate this. Don't make such a big decision, too quick. Really sit down and evaluate whether or not this is going to work for you. If you guys are new here, I noticed there's more people on here from when I started. Welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media. Thank you for the roses. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant, and I use my platform to teach people how to do this themselves. Because it can be really intimidating, right? Hiring people, or maybe you hired somebody and you still want to know what's going on in the back end, right? So that's what I'm here for. If you came in late on the live, I'm also streaming live on YouTube as well as on my Facebook channel. My YouTube is WWTMPD. What would the Money Plug do? I'm also streaming live on my Facebook page, The Money Plug, LLC, and in the Facebook group, Plugged in the Credit Clubhouse. So there are many, many places that you guys can go to catch this content if you got in late. Once I get off the live, you'll immediately be able to view it. I'm not on Twitch today, unfortunately, you guys, because I was having computer issues, but I am all those other places. So I started putting Clara on my rentals as soon as I could. Oh my God, how are you? Girl, you better DM me. Or are you on my new page? I don't know if you're on my new Facebook page. DM me on Instagram because we need to talk, Goddess Artemis, because we're going to fight because I have not heard from you in forever. Adding my 24-year-old daughter with no credit as an authorized user to one of my cards. Will this help her? Yes, but it's also going to be very important for her to open her own accounts. And here's why, right? So yes, adding somebody on as an authorized user will help them build a score if they do not have a strong credit profile. However, there's a specific section on your credit report for each account, and I forgot what the hell is the name of the section. I'm blanking right now, but it talks about your financial obligation to the account. And on the account, it'll either say joint if you have a joint account, authorized user if you're authorized user, or it'll say individual if it's your account. You cannot build a strong credit profile off of just being an authorized user because you have no financial obligation to this account. So technically, it can't be used to solely describe your credit worthiness because you're not the one responsible for paying the bill. They want to see when you got skin in the game, when your name's on the line, what's going on, or do you pay your bills? Facebook, for some reason, and I don't know why. If you guys are having, comment and let me know because I'll fix it. Can RIP reporters do it for VA housing? I don't know what is VA like. Do you pay rent? If you pay rent, then it works. Like it works for people if you're in the dorms. And you when you pay tuition, you're paying for your dorm and stuff too. So like if you made a payment for where you live, then it counts. Let me see. I think something's going on my computer, y'all. All day. Maybe this one got to be updated too. It's so frustrating. Sorry for the repeat question. I lost mine in the mix. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so this is still going. This is cool. All right, Facebook. Nope. I missed your answer about my question about filing a 1099 on next year's taxes. So if they already did their taxes and they did not include their 1099, what I would suggest you do is an amendment. And Rockboy, tell me if it's William. I don't know why I called you Rockboy. William, tell me if it's choppy on Facebook, and I'll stop the live on Facebook and then just go live directly through Facebook instead of using this third party because I am using a third party and it's looking choppy on my end. But if you've already filed your taxes and you did not include a 1099, so let's say you get one after the fact, file an amendment. Don't wait until next year because you never know how it could affect you. Hold on. My daughter got denied on a student card. We don't know why. What credit card should she try for? So a lot goes into a decision. How much money you're bringing in consistently? Do you have any open accounts at the time? What is your credit utilization on any accounts that you have open at the time? Like a lot goes into that decision. Now, what I want you to do, because I'm hoping you ain't already throw it away, because I know how people get. Whenever you apply for something and you're denied, what happens is you're supposed to get something known as an adverse action notice. This is a requirement of the FCRA. So whenever you are denied for employment or insurance or a credit application, and your credit report or your consumer report was used in, making that decision, then legally they are obligated to provide you with what is known as your adverse action form. Shit, I just said it. Look at me, and I'm talking too much. It's an adverse action notice. I apologize. So this means that they're going to tell you exactly what it was on your credit profile that got you disqualified. Another thing that a lot of people don't know, and I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know, is that when you're denied for something, if you really think that taking a closer look at your credit profile would help, there is usually a number that you can contact called the redetermination line, and it's normally included on your adverse action notice. And you can call them and say, hey, I want somebody to take a closer look. I don't want the computer to look at my profile. I want you guys to take a closer look to really see if I'm actually, denied, because you already got charged the inquiry, right? So why not make it work for you, right? They're not going to give you two inquiries for the same thing. They already pulled your credit, right? So get them on the phone and make them take a closer look. But read your adverse action notice. That's going to tell you exactly why she was denied, and you can just fix whatever it was and then reapply. As far as what credit cards should she try for college students who don't have jobs or who have really shaky income, I typically suggest like prepaid credit cards, like, there's the Chime credit builder account. There is I think it's like called Extra, the Credit Sesame card, which I have and I love. Prepaid credit cards might be the wave. Now, they won't necessarily report credit utilization in all instances. However, they will report on-time payments, which is more than important, right? That's 35% of your score. So those are options that your daughter has. Discover has a good student card, things like that. But also start where you bank. A lot of people will skip right past somewhere they're already at. Your bank, okay, so let's talk about this for a second. When you don't have the best credit, matter of fact, I'll use the analogy I used in my video. So when you don't have a degree, right? I do not have a college degree. And I'm working in an industry and aligned in an industry where a lot of people have college degrees. So how do I get, the same things that they get? How do I get the same opportunities? How do I get the same, success? It's a network. It's all about who you know, right? Not what you know. So when it comes to building your credit, when you don't have the best credit score, what do you need to do? You need to leverage the relationships you have with lenders to get you things you wouldn't normally be qualified for. So always start with the people whom you already have a relationship with, because even if you don't have the best credit score, the rapport that you have with them will help you get the things that you normally wouldn't be, qualified for. Is the snowball method still a good way of paying off debt? Whatever way to, and this is another thing. I really think that financial literacy has been touted as a one-size-fits-all thing for so long. But when it comes to paying off your debt, you really have to go off of what works for you. For some people, the snowball method isn't it, right? They use something called the avalanche, which is the opposite. So whatever works for you works for you. But the only way you're going to know what works for you is by setting a budget, following it, doing it like that. Wow. I've been asking them for the 1099 for over a year now, and they still won't send it. That is a suable offense. The thing with a 1099 is if you are owed a 1099 and they do not give it to you, you can fucking sue them, because it's a legal thing. And you can actually get that account removed because that violates the FCRA. Somebody said that they have the extra card and it's great. What are your thoughts about Self? I love Self, okay? I love Self. Y'all know me. Listen, if anybody from Self is watching, call me, right? Because I love Self. Matter of fact, and I know because I never do this, but like somebody told me the other day, like, you be suggesting all this shit and here's my Self card. I have one. I love my Self card. Self, I've been using Self since 2014, 2015, something like that. And for those of you who are not familiar with the program, how it works is you open up a loan, you choose how much you want to pay and for how long, up to 2 years, and you make your payments every month, and it reports as if you're paying back a loan. However, you're really paying into a certificate of deposit, and so at the end of the term length that you previously set, you get a check for all the money you paid into it. Now, while you're in the credit builder loan, once you make at least 3 on-time payments, and you have at least $100 paid into the program, you'll get access to the self credit builder card. That's what it's called. And it operates just like a regular credit card. It's a secured card, but instead of you putting down a deposit, it will pull it from the money that you've already paid into your credit builder loan. And you will get the option to consistently increase it as the credit builder loan gets more money into it. It's really up to you, but it works just like a regular credit card. And for most people who have low credit scores, this works for them because they don't really qualify for anything else. But if you qualify for the self-credit builder loan, then you qualify for the card. You guys are so welcome. All right, what other questions? I got down to the bottom of those questions. Oh, you got self too? I love self. I swear. All right, let's see. Hold on, y'all. I'm scrolling back up to get to the top of the questions. Yes, I just opened one. Make my first payment tomorrow. Yay! I'm already signed up for self. Is it a good idea to do Credit Sesame too? Stop and think. Remember, we talked about this. Don't be just applying for shit because I say it's a good idea. You need to sit down and look at your lifestyle. Sit down and look at what you already have going on with your credit profile and if you even need another account right now. Do you need another account right now, and what kind of account do you need? Remember, a good baseline is 3 credit cards, 1 short-term loan, 1 long-term loan. But you don't have to open all of these up at one time either. So really sit down, evaluate your situation and your credit profile to see if this is the best option for you. I personally have these things. Number one, because I always say that I hate suggesting things that I have not personally tried myself, because then I really feel like I'm giving you secondhand information. And then 2, because a bitch had bad credit. Okay, let's be clear. I'm one of those specialists who had a bad fucking credit score. My credit score was a 444. I was a divorcee. I was a single mom. I had to make shit shake. And unfortunately, I was running up the bag on these fucking credit cards. I've been sued by credit card companies. I ducked a repo, and y'all heard me tell that story a couple times. I ducked a repo before. And to this day, I have not paid it. Like I've lived this life. So I'm not speaking to you from a condescending place or a place from up high. I'm speaking to you because we are here. Like, I've been there. How many credit cards should you have? You should have as many as you're using. You should not have credit cards that you're not using or you're struggling to use. The example that I always use, and they always laugh at me when I say this, but the example that I always use is I am 5'10" and 150 pounds soaking wet. So, it's very slim. I'm not going to have a credit card to Torrid or to Lane Bryant, because what the fuck am I going to get out of that store, right? So I only have cards to places I actually shop. I rent. I don't own. I'm not a builder. A bitch is not putting down nails or making decks or nothing like that. So why would I have a Home Depot card? Why would I have a Lowe's card? I don't care how much of a discount they tell me that I'm going to get when it's time to check out. Girl, I didn't ask you all that. Just swipe my fucking card. Like, I'm not applying for cards that I'm not going to be using, because a credit card is not valuable to you if it's just collecting dust on your credit profile. And then when they close it due to inactivity, because that is a thing, you're going to take a hit on your credit report. So all those people with those giant stacks of credit cards that you see, shit's fucking stupid. Shit's fucking stupid. You don't need that many. You don't. You only need as many as you're going to use. It's crazy because I have good credit with 8 regular credit cards and I still use Grow Credit. Oh my God. So I just started talking to them. Self and the extra card and rent reporters. Any and all points help. Exactly. I learned not to put all my eggs in one basket. That was what I learned when I fucked my credit up. And so now I do have multiple credit cards, and I do have multiple, like little loans and shit that I get when I feel like it's nothing going on with my credit and I get paranoid. So, definitely don't sleep on these little cards. Do not sleep on these little cards. Like, that's not an Amex, but I got one because of this card. So just know that. Yes, I did this for my son with the college student card at our bank, and now he's at a 650. Yes, always start with your home bank. Always start with your home bank, because they know you better than any other bank out there. If you ask for a pay to delete on a small medical bill and they deny it, what's next? On a medical bill, they deny it? That's crazy, because I normally see them go ahead and accept it. The only other option that you have is to settle, and that won't do anything for your points. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. A company has every right to tell you, no, I don't want to do a pay to delete. Give me my fucking money. You also might want to check the company's policies, because some companies have it written in their policy, which is available online on their websites, that upon receipt of the total payment, the account will be removed from your credit report. But you don't know that because you've never checked the policies, and so they're not going to just enforce it. Of course not. But they have every right to tell you no. Yes, I'm from Baltimore. How you know? How do you know? They're all I keep thinking in my head is they're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. I knew somebody was gonna ask me that. Okay, wait till I get to that question, but I knew somebody was gonna fucking ask me that. Now I need to spread my subscriptions over my card. Yes, a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that, or they'll have a credit card designated. So, like, for me, I categorize my credit cards. So I have one for subscriptions. I have one for gas. I have one for groceries. I have one for miscellaneous shit because I'm always fucking buying something. Like, like I have one for my Amazon. So, and it's not an Amazon card, which I didn't even think to get, but whatever. Um, whatever works for you, but I always assign a purpose to my credit cards so that they are always being used. If you were charged off from a big bank, how can you reestablish the relationship to get another card? So some banks do not do this. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. Some banks are not second chance lenders, but banks like Capital One, I've seen Discover do it. They're willing to be second chance lender, but you just gotta do some research to see which companies are second chance lenders. Some of them they be like, "Oh girl, you fucked it up." They've been acting stomach with the pay to delete now. Yeah, they've been feeling themselves. They've really been feeling themselves lately. Okay, so somebody asked me, how do you duck a repo? And I am not going to suggest what I did. What they say at the beginning of the Jackass, this is a stunt done by a professional. Don't do this shit at home. So let me tell you what happened, because it wasn't like I did something fancy. I literally just, how Diddy was looking at that nigga on the stage like this? That was what I did to them. So, but in doing so, I fucked up my relationship with this bank, so I can never go back to this bank. I had a car. My car was repossessed. And I never paid it. Nothing. That's literally that's literally the story. It wasn't not like nothing crazy. I just did not pay it. And because I knew my rights, right? So in the state I was living in this, I bought the car when I was living in the state of Maryland. The state of Maryland statute of limitations is like 4 years. And so I knew that if I ducked these people out for 4 years, then they wouldn't be able to take me to court. Now, I used something known as the Service Member Civil Relief Act to help me out, because if you are in the military and the company is trying to take you to court, they got to go through all these extra ass steps to do it, right? And even though I was stationed in Maryland, nobody fucking knew that because it was not reporting on my credit report anywhere. And so they were trying to get in contact with me, couldn't get in contact with me, couldn't figure out where I was, and it worked out for me. Now, I am not telling y'all to do that. I actually advised against that, because now they a lot more sue happy than they was back then. This was back in like 2014. So they're a lot more sue happy now. So that shit might not work for you. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I can never go back to that bank again. Ever. Ever. So you also gotta be willing to, cut that rope, burn that bridge. But, that's just how I ducked my repo. And it's so funny because I always tell that story and niggas be like, what? But you just told me pay mine. When repos, I tell y'all, I'll be like, look, if you don't want to pay it, don't touch it. Now, if they take you to court, force a debt validation in court, and then if they validate it, you ain't got no choice but to come up with a payment arrangement. But if you don't say nothing to them and they don't say nothing to you and the statute of limitations expires, then it's nothing they can do. However, that don't mean go and dispute it later. You also have to be willing to let that shit sit on your credit report for 7 years if you just not gonna pay that shit. You just answered my question about the 3 credit cards. Yes, the repo fell off. So what happened was, after 4 years, they could not take me to court after that, right? Because with promissory debt in the state of Maryland, I think at the time the statute of limitations was, is it 4 years or 6 years? I think it's 4 years. So after that, they couldn't sue me. So I didn't give a fuck. And I wasn't looking to buy it. I'm still not looking to buy a house no time soon, but I wasn't looking to make no major purchases. I had already went and bought another car. So I wasn't fucking tripping. I let that repo sit on my credit for the whole 7 years. And then once it fell off, I was just like, fuck it. Don't get me started on her accent. Oh, I tell her on Be More Stuff all the time. Yes, you do. And I be over here dying. Yeah, it's not. They sue me. They want their money no matter what now. I hate dealing with repos. Yes, bro. Whenever a client be like, well, I want to dispute my repo, I be like, okay, so let me tell you what's going to happen. If you lose the dispute, and then we can kind of circle back to if you want to dispute the repossession. Because y'all not about to blame me when the fuck you get a notification that they take you to court. And set up autopay. Please explain why autopay supposedly helps. because it makes sure that the bill is paid by a certain date and time, because we are humans and humans forget shit sometimes. So setting up auto pay, just make sure that it's paid by a certain date and time. That's literally it. The way you say you, LOL. I'm from PG County. I used to live on the PG Howard line. Like I used to live off of what's that, 198. Right now I just want to keep putting my money on it and then receive the card later on. Sue me. Checking out my most recent video. Can you help understand stocks and crypto? I am not a financial advisor, so no, I can't. Sorry. I have paid into my self card. They keep emailing me to send out my new card, but I don't want it. You're supposed to use it. You are not supposed to have cards that you're not using. So if you have a self card, you need to be using it. It's not giving you no benefit not using it. It's not doing nothing for you, nothing for your credit profile. You have to use these cards. That's the whole point of having them. Y'all gonna start talking about my accent. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not doing this. OMG, yes, because they will swear up and down it's your fault they getting sued. Yeah, I've had that happen a couple times. What other questions y'all got for me? Y'all know me. The questions stop coming. I'm taking my ass to sleep. Y'all know this was my day off too. I just really want y'all to know that. Today was my day off. I did a lot better than I normally do. Normally, I'll be like, yeah, because y'all know I don't work on Thursdays. So I'll be like, oh, I'm off on Thursdays, and then still be in here answering emails. I only answered one email today. I'm so proud of myself. Because it is very important. If you guys have credit repair businesses, it's very important that you guys set boundaries. Because you will have people emailing you 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and getting upset because you didn't respond in 5 minutes. Or you'll have scheduled days off where you want to spend time with your family, but you so tuned into the business, you're doing this, and you'll miss out on time with your family. You can't get that time back. Make sure y'all are setting boundaries. All my entrepreneurs, shut up. Nobody asked you, Will. Not putting me on blast. He said you always say it's your day off and still be working. But I did really, really good today. I answered one email. One. That is listen, I was in the Bahamas. I paid for extra internet on my cruise so that I could answer emails. That's how bad I was. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Of course. How do I build business credit? You build it the same way you build personal credit, by adding lines of credit to your business credit profile. Just like you start off with like these subprime cards and stuff like that for your personal credit. Start off with like net 30s, net 60s, net 90s for your business. Get them reporting. Actually use these fucking lines of credit. Start building slowly and then stop PG and everything. When you start building business credit, if you're doing like, you should not want your business to be tied to you in any way, shape, or form. If you're doing your business credit and you want your business credit to be separate from your personal credit, stop becoming a personal guarantor for these accounts. You need to start with accounts that don't require a personal guarantor and build those up. Build that relationship with these accounts. And then start applying for these credit cards with these banks. Y'all gonna stop talking about my accent. How do we sign up for one-on-one advice? So there is a link on my TikTok page, right? And it's going to take you to my website. There is a button called Become a Client, and there's should be 2 options. You can either sign up for credit repair services, or you can schedule a credit audit. An audit is where you and I sit down and we discuss what's on your profile, what you need to do to fix this, what credit building suggestions I might have for you based off of your credit profile, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a service that I offer on the website. I am currently accepting clients, but I only have a few slots open. You guys know I limit how many clients I take on at a time because it's only me. I don't have any employees, no VAs, nothing like that. It's literally just me. So I do limit how many clients I take on, and I'm getting dangerously close to closing my client list too. But I will still be doing audits. I just won't be accepting full service clients after that. I'm going on another cruise, y'all. I'm going on another one. Y'all know my birthday next month. I gotta do something big for my birthday. I gotta do something big for my birthday next month. I just don't know what. Business credit, yes, business credit is easier than consumer credit. Start with 5 to 10 net 30s and get you a Divvy credit card and a business checking account. Yes, Yes. What other questions do you guys have before I go to bed? Holy shit. I've been live for an hour. Yeah, it's almost time for bed, you guys. What day is it? No, you're not. It's Thursday. I ain't say that one crazy. It's Thursday. I ain't say that crazy. I said that right, right? Thursday. Now if it was Tuesday, that's different. What's a net 30? So a net 30 is an account that you usually get through a business. So I think my first net 30 account was with Quill or Uline. And what it means is you can buy whatever you want, but it has to be paid off in 30 days or a net 60 or a net 90. So for example, I am a content creator and a lot of us are paid like net 60, right? So you don't get paid right away when you get these brand deals. You get paid within like 30, 60 days. So that's an easy way to explain it. Yes, I'm a Pisces. It's funny. So my birthday's next month, and then my husband's birthday next month, and he's an Aries. Yeah, what's up? I have a quick question before I go to bed, cause a girl is hard. Do you hear me? Is it hard to get an X1 card? Define hard. It just depends. Like it depends on your credit profile and whether or not you got invited to get one. You are fantastic. Thank you. That was so good. My sister's birthday is the 2nd. Oh, for real? Mine is the 6th. My birthday is March 6th. We don't talk about Bruno. No. Oh, my son is knocking on my door because he's like, all right, girl, it's time for bed. Somebody said they had a question and then I don't see the question no more. Waiting lists with X1 supposedly. Yeah, I heard that too. I mean, I personally don't need another card, so I really wasn't too interested in getting it. Why is everybody getting the Apple card just to get it? Because it's all right. All right. I don't got it on me, do I? Do I? No, but I need a fucking wallet. I don't got it on me, but I'm gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. I did it because it was metal. I went out with my friend. Let me tell y'all something. I went out with my homeboy. We went out to eat. Man, let me tell y'all, my homeboy got money, right? I be hanging with people with money because I be wanting that shit to rub off on me. My homie drive a Tesla, shit like that. So, man, we go out to eat. And he was like, oh, I'm going to pay for it. It was so good to see you. And I'm looking down and all I hear is tink, tink, tink. So I'm like, the fuck is that? That sound expensive. Boy, he slapped that motherfucking Apple card on the table. That shit was like tink, tink, tink. That was why I went and got one. I wanted to sound fancy like that. So I'm not gonna lie, I went and got it for that reason. Y'all know I'm always honest with y'all, but yeah, I went and got it for that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You said it was you. What was your question? Weddings by Aretha. I have a quick question and then I see it was me. Oh, it's regarding inquiries. I have 7, but 3 are not related to active accounts. So you can have those removed. So you're going to use the law of permissible purpose. What that means is you are going to force these companies to prove that you gave them permission to pull your credit. A lot of times because you don't end up opening accounts with these people, things can happen. People fuck up. They might lose the permission that they got from you to run your credit. And so if you force them to prove it and they cannot, then legally they are required to remove those inquiries from your credit report. When disputing inquiries, you never want to dispute inquiries that are tied to open accounts because that can lead to your accounts being closed. That is something very important that a lot of people don't realize. So just be very careful, but it is possible to remove inquiries as long as there are inquiries tied to denials. I just saw your financial plan on your site. Do you have a digital version instead of a hard copy? Not yet. So I will say, like I said, I don't have no employees. It's just me. So I am working on the digital copy, but I wanted to make the tabs, like I wanted you to be able to use the different tabs and stuff. So it's just taking longer than what I wanted it to. But a digital copy is coming. As long as you don't dispute the inquiry with the bank you actually got the car loan through, you're fine. You're fine. Y'all, no, I'm a get. I don't want to talk. I was about to say something, but I'm gonna shut up because I ain't had. Let me knock on wood because I was about to say something, but I'm gonna shut up. Oh, but I did. So, have y'all been seeing the secret meeting about Nicki Minaj? I guess I can talk about it since everybody else is fucking talking about it now. I got to go to the secret meeting with Nicki, and not only did I get to go to the secret meeting with Nicki Minaj, but I actually got to speak to her. Like I got to ask her a question and shit. So that was really cool, and it was a really good opportunity. Ooh, not you holding me accountable. No, Will, I ain't have a chance this week. I had a really, really busy week, which is why I took today all the way off. But I did record the new episode today because the one I wanted to post, I felt it didn't fit for this week. I did record a new episode today, and I'm gonna edit it and put it up for the podcast. Do you teach how to open or run a successful credit repair business? You're the shit, by the way. Oh, thank you. Everybody keeps asking me this. So let me tell y'all the tea, right? Let me tell y'all the tea on why I do not do a credit repair class. So the reason why I do not do a credit repair class is because I am terrified. I'm building a brand, right? You're building a brand. My brand is my baby. I got a bunch of kids. My brand is my child. I'm so afraid that I open up this class and I give all my knowledge and then somebody take that shit and take my name and be like, well, the money plug taught me, and they get on here and start doing that goofy ass shit with them lying ass videos talking about you don't gotta get them removed. You don't have to pay collections charge offs at all. You don't gotta pay student loans. You don't gotta pay credit. I don't want somebody doing that and be associated with my business. It's my biggest fucking fear. So that's literally the only thing that's keeping me from yeah. I heard people going in on other non-black creators for taking the spot during Black History Month. So let's talk. Yo, you want to talk about that for a second? So let's talk about the tea on that for a second, right? So I am a part of what is known as hashtag Black TikTok. That's a real thing. It's not like Black Twitter, right? Even though Black Twitter is a real thing, it's not like a Twitter thing, right? Like a platform thing. TikTok has a TikTok, and I am a hashtag Black TikTok. And every month we have like little special creator events and stuff like that that's specifically for us, right? So in January, I asked my community manager, I said, yo, what are y'all doing for Black History Month? Like, we haven't heard anything. I thought we would have been the first motherfuckers to know, right? What the hashtag is for the month and, like what events they got planned, especially because this was on the heels of that report that came out talking about how the highest paid TikTok content creators were white. There were no Black people on the highest paid TikTok content creators list, right? So we just knew that they was going to set us up. So they kept saying, oh, we got something so exciting. We got something so exciting. We can't talk about it, but y'all going to find out. So then we got the invite, we all go. They were really, and this is the part that pissed me off. Before we even got the link to the Zoom, we've all received emails saying no phones during the live. No, you cannot take pictures, no screenshots. You got to have your camera on the whole time. Your name had to be your TikTok name so that they could verify that you were actually supposed to be there. It was like it was a list of instructions and shit, right? So we get in. First of all, I was about to cry because I couldn't even get in the room initially. And I RSVP'd, so I was hot. So I emailed both of my community managers for hashtag Black TikTok. And I'm like, yo, I RSVP'd to this event, but it's telling me that the event is full. I can't even get in. So I'm pissed. So finally, I guess because they was kicking people out who didn't have their cameras on, I was able to get in. Technical difficulties. They was like, we got to in the room and we're going to open it back up. So I'm pissed. As soon as they entered the room, I clicked the link again so I could sit in the waiting room. I got in. And I'm noticing as they're starting to let more and more people in, it's less of this and more of this. And I'm just like, I could have swore they told us this was our Black History Month event. Like, when I asked my community manager, what are you guys specifically doing for Black content creators in light of the report that came out? Like, what support are you guys going to show us for Black History Month? And they was like, we got something planned so special for y'all. So, like, that's how it was advertised to us for us. And so when we got in there and it was more of this than this, we were feeling some kind of way, especially because all of our friends, because we got several group chats. So all of our friends who were in the content creator space and stuff, who got the invite, who RSVP'd, could not get in. So that was a miscommunication on TikTok's part because I don't know if they misaligned it. If it was intended to be something. And it was crazy because when Nicki Minaj got on there, she was like, whoa, is how many people in here? Because I definitely thought it wasn't going to be this many people in here. So like you could tell there was some miscommunication somewhere. And then when it was time to start asking questions, I had my hand raised because low key, I thought that was going to put me up top so Nikki could see me the whole time because my hand was raised. So I was just trying to be extra. I even had changed my background in Nikki picture. Like, I was just ready. So, like, when it came time to ask questions, they did highlight, so they did something for Black History Month where they picked certain accounts and they highlighted them. I think they were called Trailblazers. And one of the Trailblazers got to ask her question first. It was really dope. She had a really good question. Matter of fact, it's like Culture something. Shit, I can't think of her name, but I follow her. She's amazing. So as people start asking questions, it again was more of this than this. So of course I got to go, and I completely fangirled when I talked to her. Nikki was so cool about it too. I was like, first of all, when they called my name, they was like, and our next question is from the Money Plug, and my mouth dropped. My community manager was like, Nikki, I wish you could see her face right now. Can we pin her so Nikki can see? Y'all, I was shook. I was shaking. I was just like, oh my God. But I got to answer my question. She was really down to earth. She was really sweet about it. And one thing I noticed, every time she spoke to a Black creator, she breathed life into us. She was she made it clear where she stood with TikTok. She said, Black creators are the pulse of this app. We make the trends. We set the standard. We are the reason that this app is successful. She was very adamant that she got that point across. And she also she would tell us you are doing amazing. You are this, you are that, like breathing life into the Black creators. Cause I could just tell that it wasn't what it was. It didn't give what it was supposed to give for her a little bit. But I got to answer my question. I got my question answered and it was dope. And then again, it was more of this than this. And then there was one particular incident. I don't want to talk about it because it's not my story to tell, but it was one particular incident where somebody tried to highlight another Black creator. They brought him up on the stage and everything so that she could see who he was. And then right when somebody was like, yeah, unmute him so he could talk, somebody else snatched him off the stage for a white creator to speak. And that made everybody feel like, wait, what? Nikki was like, yeah, where's he at? Let me talk to him. And he didn't even get the opportunity to speak. They snatched his seat and gave it to somebody who, So that had a lot of us in an uproar as well. And so I definitely want to applaud these Black creators who got out here and told the real and told what it was and stood 10 toes on that. Because of that, Nicki Minaj went live on Instagram and she said that she wants to do another event with TikTok, but specifically for us, right? For us. So shout out to her because we knew it wasn't her. We knew who to blame for this situation. It was definitely TikTok and their misinformation. And even the apology they sent out was half-assed, but I mean, it was whatever. I didn't expect anything. I was hoping for better, but I mean, you hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So there's that. Oh, what's up with the FICO 10? We talked about that earlier too. What's up with the FICO 10? So I did want to bring that up because I've been getting so many DMs about that. But let me tell you, I had the time of my life, boy. You couldn't tell me shit. I couldn't wait to call my mother and tell her I talked to Nicki Minaj. Oh my God. Okay. A white creator did ask Nicki, what is it like to be a Black woman, like an iconic Black woman during Black History Month? I think that was the way it was framed. Yeah, but so she asked that and Nicki was like, excuse me? I don't understand what you're asking me. And we was all sitting there like, no, the fuck she did not. No, the fuck she did not. No, the fuck she didn't. But she did. She did. That's true. That is true. So that was what everybody's gripe was. And then after the TikTok event, once all the Black creators started coming out, TikTok started censoring our posts. So we weren't allowed to a lot of us had videos that we were trying to post earlier in the day, and TikTok had them in review for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours because they were scared of the backlash that was coming out in regards to it. It was a lot. It was a lot. And it was funny because a lot of the non-Black creators were very tone deaf about the situation, whereas a lot of them were like, yo, we had no idea that they advertised it as a Black TikTok event. We thought this was for everybody. We thought everybody knew that it was for everybody. If we ever thought that, you would feel some kind of way about it, we would have never shown up. And I get it, but at the same time, I really feel like TikTok is to blame for sure. 1,000%. And y'all know who fucked it up for everybody? Never mind, I ain't gonna say his name. I ain't gonna say his name, but yeah. You don't got to respond to every comment. Just know that if you want to be a content creator, you do not have to respond to every comment because he fucked it up and they are dragging him. So that's that on that. But yeah. But it's 11 o'clock. Look, somebody tell me go ahead. Hell no. Listen, when I get off of here, search hashtag Barb's secret meeting. And you will see exactly who I'm talking about. Keep scrolling a little bit, but you'll see that a lot of their videos dominate the hashtag. Yeah, go look at that. You'll see exactly, and then you're probably gonna see the video I'm talking about. But yeah, talking about his sister and his stepfather black. So. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. It's 11. Oh, FICO 10, good or bad. So I don't really have an opinion on it. Will, I went over some and you know what? Email me and I'll email you back in the morning because I was doing some research today and I did take some notes on it. And I'll show you what I have and kind of send you the links to the articles that I found. I don't necessarily have an opinion on it just yet. I feel like if you have a general understanding of credit cards and you have a general understanding of managing your money properly with your credit cards, then FICO 10T is going to be dope for you. FICO 10T is going to be so cool. But it could also be a huge disaster. Oh yeah, they going hard on him in them comments. That's the person they've been dragging. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yup. That is who they've been dragging. Because it wasn't even 2 seconds out the meeting and he was just talking. And then something he said made a lot of the black creators mad. He said that when he couldn't get in the meeting, they emailed him directly multiple links so that he could still get in around everybody else. And what made people so mad was that there were black content creators who didn't get the opportunity to go to the meeting because the meeting was full, but you went out of your way to get this non-black creator in this space. So that was a lot of the outrage as well. But most of the outrage is because of that one fucking video. And that just goes to show you do not have to fucking respond to every comment if you want to be a content creator. Let that be a lesson to you. So, but I'm out of here, you guys. It's been real. Yes. Did he take it down? Oh, I don't know. Look at me about to gossip on TikTok. I don't know, child. But I've been watching everybody's lives. Culture Unfiltered. That was the girl's name. I be watching Culture Unfiltered. Y'all know I be on Double Minority. Make sure y'all follow him. I be on his TikTok page. He's a friend. Skinty. I Speak. Clarissa, the truck driver. I can't remember her ad name. Like I be on all their lives and like all of us was having discussions in the comments and on the lives. Like it was multiple people on the lives who were talking about it. But I'm really hoping, listen, as a black content creator, especially in this financial literacy space, it's hard. It's really, really hard to get these opportunities. And so when these opportunities do come, it just really makes us feel like shit when we don't, like, when it's not something for us, right? We always have to share our space. We always have to share our space. And that's not fair to us because we deserve to be, we deserve the same opportunities these non-black creators are getting on these apps, the same fame that these non-black creators are getting on these apps with these deals and all this other stuff. We don't get that. We always have to share our space and it's just not fair to us. So that's where this vitriol is coming from. So I hope I answered everybody's questions tonight. I'm taking my black ass to bed. Y'all know what I always say. Live every day like it's your last and pay your bills and wear condoms just in case it's not. I will be back tomorrow. Y'all know we go live on Fridays at 8. So, okay. I see that comment and yes, you're right. This is Sabrina. Why you change your name? We're going to talk. But thank you guys for the support. You guys always show up and show out. And I really thank you for that. I'm going to go get me something to eat and go to bed. So I'll see you guys later.